My name is Jamin. I'm your first friend in Alaska, and luckily for you, I'm also an associate real estate broker in South Central Alaska, because today we're going to be talking about what is going on in the Matsu Valley as far as the single family, the raw land, and the multifamily market. This is the largest real estate market in the entire state of Alaska, and today we're going to be kind of diving in and kind of taking the temp and seeing what's up and what's down in the Matsu. Before we get started though, as always, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's jump into it. Now, the first thing we see is that this time last year, there was about 320 properties available on the market, and this year it's about 390. So that's a good step in the right direction. Now, I'm not sure how much of this makeup is actually real. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of new construction, like all the new construction in the entire state, like a vast majority of it is in the Matsu Valley. And when builders build a house, a lot of this doesn't actually exist in reality. Like they have a piece of land and they'll put pictures up of another house they did another time, and it doesn't actually exist. And so it technically counts as inventory, but someone can't just move into it. It's going to take 6 to 9 months if everything goes smoothly in order for it to be completed, and it's going to cost money and all that too, that you don't have to pay if you're buying resale properties. So you can obviously see how new construction can definitely skew the market here. Looking historically though, sitting at about 390, prior to COVID, we'd expect to see anywhere from about 570 up to about 670. So being about 390, we're still way lower than what we historically are. And we'll talk about why that is in the summary. All right, now we see that this time last year in the Matsu Valley, 100 properties sold, and this year 111 sold. So slight uptick there. Historically, we would see about 122 to about 133 just single family homes selling in the Matsu Valley. So that does kind of show that we still do have a lot of demand for real estate in the Matsu Valley, because we're right in the same ballpark of what we normally are, even though the inventory is about half of what it normally is. So that's promising if you're just kind of taking the temperature of the Matsu. Now, looking at the year-to-date average sold price in the Matsu Valley, we see the average sold price this time last year was about $430,000, and this year it's about $430,000, which means we're looking at about a 4% increase year over year. Now, that's a good, healthy increase. Like prior years, it was upwards of like 10 and like 15% year over year increase during COVID, and that was just way too hot, unsustainable. And luckily that is cooled down. It hasn't gone backwards, but the rate at which it's going up has slowed down a little bit. 'Cause I usually want to see anywhere from about 3 to 5% increase year over year, because that is sustainable. And it's the theory of what goes up must come down is not an actual economic theory, but kind of my personal theory is if it goes up really fast, then there's a good chance it can come down really fast as well. And you see that in a lot of real estate markets across the country, like the Austins and some places in Florida, where things can go up really quickly and then they can just go down really fast as well. So for stability, I usually prefer to see like a good, slow, methodical increase of about 4-5%, and I'll be happy with that, because I'm not really trying to get rich overnight with real estate here. Just looking for, just trying to play the long game is what I'm trying to do. All right, let's switch gears a little bit and look what's going on in the raw land sector of the Matsu Valley, because this is also where a lot of raw land is sold. For the entire state, this is where a lot of raw land is bought and sold, because this is really where a lot of people are developing. So this time last year, there was about 611 pieces of raw land that were being bought and sold. I cannot tell you exactly how big each one of these parcels were, but whatever size they were, about 611. This year, about 507. So kind of a decrease in the inventory that's available. Normally around this time of year, we'd expect to see about 1,000, upwards of 1,100 prior to COVID. So yeah, I think that's really a testament to builders jumping in there and buying up as much as they possibly can, because the trend of people moving to the Matsu Valley is probably not going to go away anytime soon, and that's why the building is going to probably continue in the Matsu Valley moving forward. Next thing we see is that the number of pieces of raw land that have actually sold went from 46 this time last year to 58 this year, which, that's actually above normal prior to COVID, because we'd expect to see usually around 50, 39, 47, something like that. So the fact that we're just at about 60 really does indicate that there's a lot of demand, even though the inventory is way low. You're probably not going to see a huge shoot up of the average sold price, which let's take a look here real quick. Yeah, you're probably not going to see, relatively speaking, a huge uptick in the sales price or anything happening really dramatically in the Matsu Valley, just because we do have, it's raw land. Things don't happen very quickly unless something really big has happened, like they build that tunnel or that bridge over in Point Mac, at which point that might actually have a big impact on the sold price for raw land, but it usually doesn't go anywhere quickly. You sell a piece of raw land and sometimes it can take years for it to actually sell. All right, I stand corrected. The average sold price has jumped up dramatically. It went from about 85,000 this time last year to about 110,000 this year for the average sold price. Now, again, it doesn't show us how big the parcels are. Like, obviously, if you have a little half acre lot, that's going to sell for a lot less than, something that's about 100 acres. So I couldn't tell you exactly, what's been bought and sold during that time period, but for it to jump up that drastically, that tells me it's probably has more to do with the fact that there are larger lots that are being bought and sold. Maybe some commercial raw land is being bought and sold, and that's kind of throwing the numbers off here. I really don't see the price and value of raw land in the Matsu going up by 30% year over year. Could be wrong, but I kind of doubt it. All right, we're going to jump into the multifamily section of the real estate market. Before we do that, though, just wanted to make sure you folks are aware that I do have a relocation guide for those of you who are moving to Alaska, and this is just a great resource so you kind of have a sense for what's up and what's down in Alaska in general. So if you'd like your copy, go to my website. Link for that is in the description section down below, and register. Put relocation guide in the comment section there so I know what to send you. Also, if you are just wanting to make sure you're aware, just kind of as a PSA, I make most of my income from actually helping people buy and sell real estate. You see a lot of content from me on the YouTube channel and podcast, and I really enjoy doing it. And the number one priority is still helping people buy and sell. I've had a number of people tell me recently, hey, we wanted to work with you. You just seemed like you were really busy online. I am very strategic about my time, and the priority is to help you, so I'm not too busy if you are looking at making a purchase anytime in the near future. Okay, that's self-serving. PSA is out of the way. Let's keep it moving. All right, now we can take a look at what's going on in the multifamily market. In the multifamily market, we see that this time last year, there were 28 properties available on the market, and this year there are 38. So seeing a little bit of an increase there. Historically, though, prior to COVID, we'd expect to see anywhere from about 44 to 63. So the fact that we're seeing at 38, it's low, but it's not necessarily like what it is in some asset classes in some markets where it's about a quarter of what the normal inventory was. So it's on the uptick, and that's good, and it's still not where it was before. All right, this time last year, the number of multifamily properties that actually sold went from 6 this time last year to 9 this year. Historically, we'd expect to see anywhere from about 6 to 16, so there's a bit of a range there. Looks like we're right there within that range of what we would expect to see. Now, looking at the average sold price, this is interesting to me because the average sold price went from $601,000 this time last year to about $621,000 this year to date. Now, this is interesting to me because the average sold price for multifamily properties is higher in the Matsu Valley than what it is in high demand areas like Eagle River. So that tells me a couple things. Number one, the properties being sold in Eagle River are more like the smaller things, like a little duplex or a single family home that could be used as a multifamily, just the way it's set up. And so they try to sell it that way, and it gets entered into the stats that way. And the properties being bought and sold in the Matsu Valley are real, true multifamily, fourplex type stuff, or more than that. So I think that might be what's going on here. That really is a good indication of how many people are moving out to the Matsu Valley and renting, that the value for the multifamily properties are increasing. Because looking back to, we'll just go back to the year 2020. Average sold price then was $420,000, and now it's $200,000 more than that at about $620,000. So there's been a drastic increase in the value for these multifamily properties as more people are moving out to the Matsu Valley. Now, I would say that's probably just a fluke. Like maybe we had like some large commercial property sell and that just shot all the numbers up, but it has pretty consistently gone up over the years, because in 2021 it went from 420 to 462, then the next year 494, next year 580, year after that 601,000, and this year 621,000. So there's been a pretty consistent increase in the last 4 or 5 years for a multifamily property. So I'm really not seeing this as being some kind of a fluke in the stats with just a large property throwing everything off. So multifamily is continuing to increase in value in the Matsu Valley, which is good. Appreciation isn't necessarily, where you make all your money. If you're looking at multifamily properties, usually it's more about cash flow. If you can get appreciation, great. Like to me, that's a good payday. I'll take appreciation increasing any old day. But usually most people, if they're looking at multifamily, they're interested more in cash flow. All right. So let's go and talk summary real quick here. If I'm a seller in the Matsu Valley, feeling pretty good about the market. I'm not feeling as good as I did in the COVID era, but the interest rates are coming down a little bit, and the demand for properties in the Matsu Valley continues to go up, which obviously is really going to help you. If I'm a buyer in this market, I'm feeling a lot more hopeful in the Matsu Valley than I'm feeling in most other markets here in South Central. I know that inventory is still down, but it's not nearly as down as what it is in other markets. Like places like Anchorage and Eagle River, they're down to like half or a third, or in some cases a quarter of the inventory than what they had prior to COVID. So there's not a whole lot available. So I'm feeling more optimistic. And also I'm still going into it, maybe still expecting to do some competition. I think some people have kind of gotten into the mindset of, it's not 2021 anymore, so I don't have to compete. It's like, well, no, that's not really how that works. If it's a good house, you're not the only person on this planet who wants a good house. You're probably going to have to compete for it. And unfortunately, that's just kind of what it is. Believe me, I hate it for you, but that's just kind of the reality. But the other thing is, I've kind of talked about investors a little bit. If you're wanting to get into investing, certainly feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to help with that as best I can. For a lot of investors right at the moment, one of the best things that they can do to invest is to actually improve what they currently have. So if the interest rates are high and they just don't want to buy another property, but they still want to do something, increasing the value for what you currently have is really going to help out quite a bit. So do some nice updates and remodels to your current properties, and that can help you out quite a bit. Obviously, I'd have to see exactly what it is we're working at, but that strategy's worked pretty well for a lot of people. But this has been my market update talking about the Matsu Valley. Hope it's been useful. Reach out if you have questions. We'll see you next time.